Hey everybody, thanks for listening to the podcast. I love all of the DMs and the calls and the emails, and I realize that we've formed somewhat of a community, and that excites me, and I want to get to know you all a little bit better if you're interested. So I've created something called the Owners Forum. We will meet once a month for 90 minutes and talk about challenges you're having at your properties. We can talk about trends. I'll give you my input, things that are going on down here in South Florida or what I'm seeing around the country. You'll have other people in the group around the country sharing what's going on in their strip center world. And we'll do it for about 6 months and we'll see how it is. I did something like this during COVID. It was very needed, very much needed, and really productive. So if you're interested, we'll put the details in the links below. And our first call is in July. So join the group if you're interested, and I'll see you on the first call. Hi, this is Beth Azor, and this is my podcast, I Own a Shopping Center, Now What? So today I want to talk about strategy as an owner and managing your leasing personnel, whether it's someone in-house, whether it's third party. I had a property that I was leasing in front of a major mall in South Florida. We bought the note, $5 million note from Bank of America. It was a foreclosure, and the mall is a local mall called Sawgrass Mills Mall. 28 million people. As of the last time I checked, it's probably more now, go to that mall every year. It's the second top tourist destination in Florida behind Disney World. So it was, I think it was like 24,000 square feet, more or less. And it was on an out parcel of the mall. And that area had great income in the area, which I love. Not a lot of retail, which you know I love. And I felt that the sales were good in the area of the tenants and that demand was high. You know, not everyone was going to lease in the mall, right? A lot of people want to lease outside the mall. And the street that the property was on, called Sunrise Boulevard, probably had 40 or 50,000 cars on it. So I thought it was a great buy. What I ignored was the 4 outparcels that the developer sold from the property. There was a Arby's, a Pollo Tropical, a car wash, and a Wendy's, I think. 4 outparcels that completely blocked the visibility and exposure. You guys know how important. This is why I'm so adamant about visibility and exposure for the retailers, and how important it is, and be very careful when you're buying real estate or a strip center and you can't see it from the road. You literally could not see my property from the road because of these 4 outparcels. So I leased it with Destination Tenants because no impulse tenants would be able to afford to be there. I had at one point Sears Appliance. We had a children's bounce house place. I got in DXL, which is the old casual male, big and tall. You know, these are Destination Tenants. And we owned it for a long time. So we probably owned it about 10 years when this experience or story that I'm about to share occurred. So we had leased it and tenants would come and go, come and go, come and go. And every chance we got to almost filling it up, we'd lose a couple tenants. And so it was really kind of a thorn in my side because all my other properties were doing really well. And this property was doing well because we didn't have a mortgage. And it was me and 4 partners, and we were distributing. So the property wasn't hurting, but it was hurting my ego. And I couldn't understand. And I was doing everything. I was canvassing, I was prospecting, I was Facebook marketing. I had a broker party. I gave incentives, commission incentives. I was doing everything to try to fill this sucker. So one day I was walking on the beach listening to a motivational book, which I love to do. And the topic was, doing the same thing over and over again, which is an insanity. So it dawned on me that maybe I'm not the person that should be leasing this property. Maybe I need to hire a third party broker, which you can imagine took some humility. So I called my main partner and I said, look, I think that we need to hire a third party broker. He goes, are you serious? Like, really? I go, yes. I have a fiduciary to you all as my partners. And for some reason, I cannot get this done. I cannot make this happen. So he said, okay, do what you think is best, right? So we put this out there publicly on social media that I was hiring a third party broker. And it was very funny because the broker's like, I better perform for Beth. But right away, he did an Indian restaurant, which was great. And we had very high hopes, like, okay, we had probably 4 vacancies that needed to be filled. So it was like 60% occupied. And then for the next 11 months, nothing. So he did one 1,200 square foot deal and then nothing. So I called him into my office. It was like December, coming to the end of the year, November, December. He goes, oh, you're coming to fire me. I said, no, I'm not. We got to brainstorm. Like, what the hell? How come we cannot lease it? It's not for rental rates because, I've told you to bring me any deal. And he goes, yeah. So I said, what if you had a year free rent? He goes, what? I go, what if I gave you a year free rent? He goes, well, then I could lease it for sure. I'm like, well, then frickin' go say that. I said, but here's the deal. I'm not going to give any TI. Obviously, they need to qualify. They need to sign, like if they're going to do a 3-year deal, then they need to do a 4-year deal because I want to get the full 3 years, right? And because I felt time was of the essence, I said the year starts January 1st. So if you lease it in June, then they only get 6 months. So I put some pressure on him that it was important for him to go out and really, really blanket the area and all of the tenant rep brokers and all of the local tenants in the area. Like, if you sign in January, you have 11 free months, right? If you sign in June, you get 6 free months. Well, within 5 months, we leased it to 100%. And I ended up selling it. I didn't plan on selling it, and that's a story for another call, but we ended up selling it. I drove by recently, and a couple, we lost, I think they've lost 2 of the tenants, but everyone else is still there. So this moral of the story is sometimes you have to shake things up. If your son is leasing for you and they're not successful, let them listen to this. I mean, I'm the canvassing queen, and I felt like I needed to hire someone else to shake things up. And then even that person couldn't do it. The problem was the 4 out parcels blocking the visibility and exposure. It didn't matter that it was on an out parcel of 28 million people. We put signs on the back of the center so that the 28 million people could see the signs. I'm telling you, we did everything. And we had to get the local tenants' attention. And how we did that was offering the year free rent, which was at the time, this was very prevalent with high-rise office buildings in Miami in the 90s. Like, they used to give 18 months free. But this has not happened in our market in retail I don't think ever, maybe in the 90s. So the fact that I gave them permission to go out there and do that, and again, what it did was it captured the attention of, to be able to walk in and go, I have a property where I can give a year free rent, or I have no rent until January 2021 or whatever it was, 2022. So it helped them. And that was what brainstorming was all about. I said, well, what is it? It's not the rent. He goes, no, it's not the rent. You would do any deal. But when I said, okay, how about a year free? We all just kind of thought, how does anyone turn that down? And it deemed successful. So when you're managing your leasing folks, and when you're not getting the results you want, brainstorm and say, how can we get the retailer's attention? Okay. We made them sign personal guarantees. I did not put $1 into any of the spaces, no TI. They all had to invest their own money. And like I said, I think they did 4 or 5 leases. And the last time I drove through, 3 are still there. So I hope this helps. Open your mind. And by the way, we're creating this owners forum. If you're interested, DM me, email me, text me. It'll be a 6-month program. I'm capping it somewhere between 10 and 15 people. We will be talking about challenges you have on your assets. I'll share stories of what's going on with my assets, very confidential. closed group. Once we start, that's the only amount of people we're going to have for 6 months. And if it's something that you would like, we're going to talk every month for 90 minutes. You'll have access to me throughout the rest of the month. I think it's $4.99 a month or $2,500 for the 6 months if you pay in full. Let me know if it's something you're interested in joining our group, and I'll talk to you soon.